update time. So if you saw our previous video about the third brake light on this, we had done a repair using 3D printed parts, which was kind of cool. And unfortunately, the news isn't as good as we'd hoped. As you can see, she fell back down again. Now, it took us a minute of kind of digging around to figure out exactly what happened, but when you look close, it's relatively clear, I think. The adhesive seems to be the biggest issue here, where it's kind of softened and pulled away from the window. So I think that was kind of the root cause. But we've also found a weak spot in the design of the clip. You may be able to see here how the base of it has bowed. So it looks like when the adhesive failed, the clip wasn't able to then support the weight. So even though the edges adhered well, the center became the weak point. So it looks like back to the drawing board a little bit as far as the design of the clip and what adhesive we use. Now, in the previous video, we had mentioned that because these are plastic clips, we can't use the rear view mirror adhesive like we had originally planned. So we had to kind of come up with something else that would hold more firm, but would also work with the plastic of the 3D printed clip. So that's where this stuff comes in. I think this could be a good candidate to kind of fix our issue as far as the adhesive goes. So what interested me about this specific product is that on the packaging it does specify that it works with most hard plastics, but also works with vinyl, glass, all that stuff as well. So I think this one, gives a bit of a versatility where some of the other products perhaps wouldn't. So even though there are some epoxies that are more plastic specific, they then perhaps would not bond to the glass. So we're going to give the second round a shot with this adhesive at least. Now, as far as the clips themselves, we also have to make some changes, because as you saw, we had kind of a stress point on them that was a little bit weak, it looks like. So we're going to go back to the drawing board with the model on these and change a couple things about how they print in hopes of rectifying that issue. The original clips are made of a cast metal, so they can be pretty thin, and you have a lot of rigidity out of this material, especially when you're holding something relatively light like that third brake light. Whereas with ours being made of plastic, we discovered that essentially when the load was placed on this central column here, it created a weak point towards the middle and was able to actually bow this, which is surprising now that I'm trying to do it with my fingers. That's a lot of force. So I'm also wondering if perhaps the load and maybe even heat had a factor in in the failure of these parts. So we're going back to the drawing board. We're going to do a little bit of research to see what we can do to combat that specifically as well. This part is going to take the longest, I think, in the sense of we're probably going to have to do a few rounds of trial and error just to see, what does and does not work. So obviously this is a little bit disappointing. We were super excited, hoping that one and done, put it in and it would work great. And it did, actually, for a week or so. It was fantastic. But after time, it did, get pretty hot on a few days there. I think the heat of the glass especially gets even hotter than the outside air because of the sun beating on it. And that's where we kind of finally had our failure point. So, as much as I would love to have just written this one off as a success and moved on, that's not the truth of the matter. So I will be getting back into the design. I'm going to be looking at the way it prints, see if we can maybe adjust the pattern, even if it's slightly less efficient on the actual printer itself. Maybe we can gain some more strength out of changing the angle, that the model is printed at. And then also I'm going to be doing some research on the materials themselves as well. Possibly ABS might have a higher heat resistance, things like that. So, not everything's going to be, a happy ending with some of these projects, but at the end of the day, you got to just keep on pushing forward if you're ever going to get anything done. So, we'll do an update once we make a breakthrough on this again. You'll see another video relating to this, hopefully in the near future. And then once they're ready, we'll let you know, and hopefully we can kind of bring them to the market and share them with you guys. I know it was a short video today, but mostly I wanted to get this update out to you just so you knew, because we did have quite a few people excited about this project. So we appreciate you following along, and if you haven't already, consider liking and subscribing if you want to see what the future of this project looks like. If you're subscribed, and especially if you hit that notification icon, you'll actually get notified when the next video comes out. So we appreciate you following along, and we'll catch you on the next one.